What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 89 of The Charge to the Top here with Hereford FC, and today we are back, and well, it's going to be the end of Season 10 review, and I will start off this episode by apologising, because I've had a little bit of a mare over the last week or so. If you watched the Motorsport Manager video I uploaded a few days ago, you'll already know. But, well, basically, my PC stopped working last weekend, and it's kind of thrown a bit of a spanner in the works when it's come to my videos and stuff. I've actually lost the thumbnails for this series, so the thumbnail that you're seeing on this video is probably going to be a new design altogether, because I haven't got the old one anymore. And additionally, I did lose one video, which was the video prior to this one. So this is the second episode 89 I've recorded. If we just look at the league table here, you can see we actually ended up finishing 8th this year. Of course, last episode we played Crystal Palace, and at that point in time, to be honest, I didn't think that we really had much of a chance of gaining many positions, and you can see, really, our performances weren't all that great. We drew against Hull, a draw against Burnley, we lost against Manchester City, albeit very narrowly, we drew against Southampton, we then lost against Leicester, and 2 wins against Arsenal, and then Middlesbrough, which was a live commentary, saw us leapfrog them on the last day of the season to go ahead of them on goal difference. So apologies for the fact that I don't have the previous episode 89. It's not ideal, obviously, but as you maybe can understand, it's not been an ideal situation this whole week. My SSD failed, for those of you who may be curious. But anyway, today we're going to be reviewing the end of season kind of 10 here. It is worth noting that with us gaining those positions to go into 8th, it's not actually made a massive difference to our season in kind of reality. If we just look at the rules here, you can see the difference between 8th and 10th place is just about £4 million. So I guess it's a nice little bit of extra money to have. In reality, you can see, looking at the club balance here, we have £31 million. The transfer budget's good. It's worth noting that we are apparently projected to fail financial fair play. It's really, really narrowly that we're projected to fail it by. I actually think we'll be okay. But you know what, we'll maybe have to bite the bullet there. It will be a fine, I guess, for the... Oh, actually, no, we should be okay. I don't even know. I mean, given the current financial projections, the board are confident. I'm going to trust them. I'm going to trust them. The wage ones, which is... where is the wage budget stuff? There's financial fair play when it comes to the wages, and it's to do with the amount of expenditure that it increases by. I think even if we do fail this, it would just be a fine we play. We'll have to hope it is. I'm now a little bit worried. I'm now kind of having this realisation of maybe I've screwed up here, but we'll find out. It'll be fine. Anyway, you can see here our league position of 8th is a record high for the club. Of course, last year we finished 13th, so it's a good little improvement. 5 more positions. Of course, you'd expect improvement, really, given the fact that we have spent about, what, £30 million or £40 million even over that over the course of the season. We spent fairly big, but I feel like we have made good progress off the pitch. And while speaking of spending big, there was a player I mentioned an episode or 2 ago, Marcos Lustau, and he's joining us. Yes, the Argentine here is coming home. I say coming home, he's never been to Hereford before, but he's coming here to our home, and I'm really excited about this guy. You can see his only real weaknesses are his long throws and aggression. Everything else is just superb. He's such a well-rounded centre midfielder, 20 years old, yet to break into the Argentine national team kind of first team. You can see potential to be a Premier League centre mid. He's already a Premier League centre mid. Apparently, he'd failed to gain a work permit. He hasn't failed to get one. We're signing him for 24 smackaroonies. That is not a small amount of money. You can see 17 million up front, 7 million after 20 international appearances. Yeah, it's a big transfer for us. But I am really confident that this guy is going to be just such a massive, massive improvement on what we've already got. And at 20 years old, with room to improve, I can't wait to see what this guy can maybe achieve during his time at Hereford. It's worth noting his contract, I believe, is a fairly long one, going off my memory. So that's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to having him in the club. Anyway, looking at other stuff that's gone on, of course, you can see we've had the end-of-season rewards, and perhaps a little bit of a surprise contender here. Murray Wood has won Player of the Season, or Fans Player of the Season. The youngster on loan from Manchester City, a player who, to be honest, long-term might be a good transfer signing option if he doesn't break into the City side. He's performed fantastically. You can see 13 appearances for the national team in Scotland. It is, however, worth noting that this Fan Player of the Season vote was very, very tight indeed. You can see Jonathan Chan just a few percent behind, playing that centre attacking mid-role. You can see 12 goals and 7 assists for him. and he played every single league game in some capacity. 2 games on off the bench. And, well, Silla, the other player, you can see he played 33 games this year, 19 goals for him, a really, really good goal return. A player we brought in needing goals from him. Of course, he'd done it in Belgium before in the Pro League, having scored, 50 goals across 3 seasons. He's hit the ground running here in England, and 19 goals is a really, really good total for a player kind of finding his feet in the league. Anyway, you can see Silla was signing of the season. Young player of the season was also Murray Wood, who, of course, won Fans Player of the Year. If we just have a look at the goal of the season here, it was, as you can see, Choi Min-ki against Brighton and Hove Albion. I don't feel like I can remember this goal, so let's take a trip down memory lane. Let's see if all the memories start coming flooding back for me. But I don't know, I feel like to finish 8th this year is about where we expected to be, particularly after last year finishing 13th. And, well, it was a nice free kick. I feel like we scored free kicks fairly similar to that one, but, well, that was the goal of the season, apparently. But as I said, I feel like the progression this year has been really good, particularly because we signed so many players. You know, we kind of fiddled around with the system a fair bit over the course of the season. I'm still not 100% happy with, I guess, the style of football we're playing. Certainly our formation, I think, needs more work. But we made some nice additions. You know, the likes of Pinero's come into the side and had a good little impact on the side. The 21-year-old player who there's been a little bit of interest in from other clubs. So you can see it's kind of cooled down as of late. But, you know, we're going to have to try and keep hold of some of these players now who have had these standout performances. As you can see, looking at the end of season review, Hereford were expected to claim a top half finish, and they did just that. That really is testament to how good our squad is, I think. If we just look at the season preview, I think it will have changed, actually, the season preview. But I feel like at the start of the season, we were kind of predicted, yeah, you can see here, 14th was roughly where we were thought we'd be. I'd kind of set the bar that little bit higher, particularly after finishing kind of 12th, 13th last year. I wanted to build off that, and I felt like top half was very much achievable. And we've done that, and that's kind of a big relief in a lot of ways, because I don't know, I feel like we piled a little bit of pressure on ourselves. You can see the match of the season was a 4-3 win against Derby County. The moment to forget, the Baggies smashed us 3-0. Yeah, I do want to forget that. You can see our average attendance was 18,254. Of course, we were playing at Bournemouth Stadium, and in the not-so-distant future, we will be moving stadium finally. If we just look here at the facilities, you can see we're due to move in on the 26th of the 6th. So in just over a month's time, we will have our own home at the Hereford FC Stadium, which is great. And I think immediately, really, we're going to be looking to expand that stadium because it's, in all honesty, not the biggest. So that might be something to look forward to. Anyway, of course, this does mark 10 years at Hereford FC, so I feel like we will have a look at the overall Team 11, and overall Best 11 and stuff in just a second. You can see in terms of overall confidence and happiness, the board are delighted. A bit disappointed with our FA Cup performance. I can't really blame them for that. They're delighted with how we're holding up to their philosophies. If we just look at those philosophies, you can see... I can't remember what the philosophies are now. Where do you check philosophies? Where is it? Is it club issues? Is it club? Oh, it is club issues. So you can see here the philosophy: sign high-profile signings, sign first-team youngster signings. We've done both of those in an absolute abundance over the course of this season. They are loving it. Of course, club stature's gone through the roof. Wage budget is fairly kind of under control, and all in all, they're pretty happy. If we just look at transfers, this is one I always think is interesting to look at. You know, at the end of the season, the fan reaction. They were happy to see Gusto Rojas leave. I mean, I'm a little bit sad about that. You can see he's gone and made a career for himself in Sweden. But the fact the board are and fans are so happy about that is a little bit sad to me. You can see Murray Wood was the most popular of our signings that we made. Silla, Kasongo and Morales also right up there. They were also happy to see Harry Lennon leave. I don't like this. I'm not in touch with our fans. In terms of the board, you can see they were delighted with the Pinero signing and actually the Andy O'Neill signing, which I think for me might be one of my personal favourite signings this year. The 23-year-old, you know, a good little leader, good international for the Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, not Northern Ireland. And I think he's going to be a very, very good player for years to come. And whilst he wasn't cheap, I feel like in this guy we've got a long-term solution kind of in the defensive department. And the fact he can play anywhere across the back, of course, is just a really useful kind of utility man to have. But anyway, that's kind of, you know, our season in a very brief nutshell, I guess you could say. You can see we've got a few players wanting to talk to me about why I've been playing them outside their roles. they're kind of happy, actually. I just told them I was playing you where we needed to play you. You can see in terms of our money for this coming year, we've got quite a lot. £34 million transfer budget. The wage budget actually not increasing by all that much. There might be a little bit of wiggling on going there. Who knows? You know, there is a little bit of interest in one or two of our players. It might be difficult to hold on to some of them. You can see the likes of Silla, wanted by Valencia, Kasongo. Monaco are looking at him. You know, if Monaco came in with a big kind of £60 million bid, I might bite their hand off. I don't think it's going to happen. And ideally, I'd like to keep hold of him. But if they offer me money that I can't refuse, I don't know, we're going to have a tough decision on our hand. You can see, just looking at our team here, Silla got 20 goals across all competitions. Kasongo, a player we've not looked at yet. You can see 24 years old. He's had another fairly solid first season at the club. 11 assists, 14 goals. Those assists really, really impressive, of course. Did play for spells of the season out on the left-hand side, but he made those performances count. You can see Cameron Bowman also up there with 8 goals. Not bad at all for him. A good little haul for the Australian goal. I was about to call him a goalkeeper. He's not a goalkeeper. He's a goal scorer. And yeah, the 19-year-old, obviously fantastic goals to games ratio at Australia at national level, and I'm hoping that's going to kind of transfer over to club level. Of course, only 19 years old, so loads of time still to improve potentially. I'm kind of excited to see what he can maybe do over the next few years. Anyway, other performers, Choi Min Kee's done fairly well. Didn't play a whole host of games this year. Jamie Price got 3 goals, although sad to see, really, he's kind of just fallen off the face of the first team. A player you can see here, 90 appearances, 41 first team goals. This year, just 2 goals in 21 appearances. Granted, 16 of those appearances were on off the bench, but for a player you look at to make a real impact kind of in a match, he really kind of failed to live up to that billing as an impact player, unfortunately, for us. Anyway, you can see a few other players here perform fairly well. If we just look at the average ratings, I don't know why the value and average rating columns are the wrong way round for how I like to have them. But you can see Silla and Kasongo, 2 standout players. You can see Marcu played fairly well when we did call upon him, the Cypriot. A good little player, really. Of course, a free transfer from Celtic. He's been a good player over the course of the year just to have as an option to bring on. Mustafa Hamdi, a player who has had interest from Barcelona, was dropped to the reserve team for a short spell that some of you guys noticed. I forgot to mention it, I believe, in the video at the time. But at 21 years old, he's still a good player. He's still improving. But, well, you can see here, 30 appearances he's made, 8 assists, 2 goals. Not a bad haul at all. And at 21 years old, he's still very much in his infancy as a professional footballer. Anyway, Miguel Morales is definitely worth a mention. 21 years old, of course, the Mexican centre-back. He joined us this year for £5.5 million, and that is looking like an absolute bargain in reality. Of course, we brought him in through his release clause, and yeah, he's very well suited to Premier League football. He's been consistent this year. He's a professional individual, and I'm hoping that we can tie this guy down to a slightly longer-term contract in the not-so-distant future. You can see he has got a minimum release clause to teams in the Champions League, and, well, in an ideal situation, I'd like to get rid of that in the not-all-so-distant future. Anyway, that's kind of what's going on there. You can see the board are going to be upgrading the youth facilities, and our youth category has been increased to Category 2, which is good, you know, continuing that progression at Hereford FC. It's been something that, as we've gone through the leagues, I have been trying to make a conscious effort to improve our facilities. You can see we have both good training and youth facilities. That is not too bad at all for a team in our current kind of predicament, having moved kind of up through the leagues so rapidly, so I'm kind of happy with that. And I think with that, we'll have a look at the best 11 because, as I said earlier, it's been 10 years here at Hereford now. It's been a long 10 years. It's been a 10 years where we've seen ourselves go from a team, you know, on the kind of fringes of just English League football, a well-supported side, but a side that needed to be guided on forward. And we now find ourselves in a situation, well, really, we found our feet as such. You know, we found a place. We've got a new home we're going to be moving into, you know, after 10 years. Of course, it's 11 years since the club was first formed. And, well, when you look at the first kind of best 11 we had, you know, you've got players like David Lynch, who now plays for Stockton Town, you know, players who, they were never going to make the journey with us. Jake Sinclair, now playing for Stamford. I often get asked, you know, where is X player, where is Y player? Here's just a few of them. So, yeah, you can see Jake Sinclair, of course, left us to go to Accrington after one season. That one season where he got 30 goals and 15 assists. And he's never really found his level since. He actually had a really good year at Guiseley in the National League, where he got 8 goals and 12 assists in the season, but his average ratings weren't that great. And, well, they were relegated that season as well. Other players who featured on this list, you know, Dan Townsend, now playing for Chadderton, a player who maybe one day will be able to bring back as a coach. I'd love to see some of these players return. Of course, a few players who do start and still play in real life for Hereford, the likes of Ryan Green, 39 years old there. You know, you've got Luke Wakeman here, who now plays for Farley. And it's kind of weird to see how we've progressed over that time. And well, when you take a look at the overall 11, it's one hell of 11, isn't it? You can see here, Chucky, our starting goalkeeper in the best 11. 105 appearances he's made for the club. A player who, of course, with Mannion breaking into the first team, probably hasn't got all that many first team games left in him. But a player who definitely deserves, you know, some respect and a round of applause. He's been a very good player for us over the years. Looking across the back, we've got Chris Owen, that's left back, a player who still gets mentioned in the comments section with hushed tones from time to time. 156 appearances he made for Hereford as well. You can see other players we had across the back. Of course, Harry Lennon, David Gums, players who had a massive influence on us. Harry Lennon joining us, of course, when we were in the non-league, coming up with us all the way till he actually made it to the Premier League. I don't think he made a Premier League appearance. David Gums, on the other hand, was kind of the player who Harry Lennon passed the torch to. And the 25-year-old, you can see, he's still playing at the club, but he, you know, isn't playing as nearly as much as he once was. You can see 10 appearances this year as a starter, 8 off the bench, so he has had a bit of first-team football, but I can't see him getting that level of first-team football going forward. Kane Smith, of course, our former captain, you can see he left us after 101 appearances, played for Histon for a short while, but decided to retire at the age of 28 from professional football, just couldn't find a club. Isaac Christie Davis, currently a free agent, has been playing at Morecambe, Stevenage and Northampton. Obviously, a great player for us back in his day. You can see this year he actually made 27 appearances for Stevenage. Although, actually, that would be the year before last. My gosh, he's been a free agent for 2 years. That's really sad. Hopefully he finds a club. I'll be sad if he just retires. Anyway, out on the left we've got Anthony Wright, of course. Out on the left we've got Anthony Wright. Out on the right, Keenan Bennett, another player who gets the occasional mention, the Torquay youngster. You can see he's had a bit of a journeyman career around the UK. He's played for York, Accrington, Heston Bombers and Torquay. At centre attacking mid, of course, James Maddison, still at the club, 147 appearances, 51 goals for that man. At 29 years old, another player who really has been on the Hereford adventure. He's played at every single level of the football pyramid with us in kind of ascending order. Not made all that many appearances in the Premier League. He made 8 last year, no appearances this year. I feel like his time at the club may be wrapping up. And of course, Kevin Kelly up top, the Scottish youngster back at Watford, of course, was on loan at us for 3 years, made 157 appearances, scored 85 goals. Just a quick look at the bench, you can see Russell Griffiths, Gustavo Rojas, Jack Barmby, Jay Beckford, Ote, I'm going to click on him in a second, Jordan Biggett and Jamie Price also making the mark, but, well, Ote, we'll never forget you. He's been playing at Leatherhead now for a little while. He's actually become a free agent as of late. I guess they released him this season. It does look like that. You can see he's been getting goals at the non-league levels, which kind of makes me a little bit happy because you can see 35 goals in the Vanarama South, 31 in the Southern Premier, of course, 2 goals in the Vanarama National. One of those more important than most goals. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you didn't watch the end of season episode for that year because that was one hell of a year as Ote got the winner. You can see other stuff going on. The Isthmian Premier League, he got 25 goals there. He got 16 goals across 2 seasons as well in the Vanarama South. Just a bit of a non-league legend, this guy. And at 27 years old, I still hope he has time to find another club. Where did Leatherhead finish this year? I'm now curious. It's in the Vanarama National. Where did they finish? They actually won the league. So they didn't miss Ote. Fair play to them. They've got back-to-back promotions. There's a few other teams who might stand out here. Averley, Dulwich Hamlet. Averley, I think they had a sugar daddy takeover, if I remember correctly. If we look at it here, they had a tycoon takeover over them in 2018, but actually recently they had that funding withdrawn, so that's a little bit controversial. Last 2 years they finished 8th. This year they finished, was it 5th? Yeah, it was 5th. Be interesting to see if they can keep making a pump run up the league, although without their tycoon, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for them, really. But anyway, that's the overall best 11. I guess I don't want to go into too much detail with this episode. I don't want to make it super bloated, but next season's going to be a really interesting one for us. I want to see us push for top 6. I feel like that's got to be the ultimate aim this year. You know, we want to keep moving forward. We want to, you know, try and get goals which are going to make a difference for us. I feel like the system that we're playing needs experimentation. We need to have a bit of a fiddle, a bit of a tweak and see what we can come up with because it's good, but I feel like it could be a hell of a lot better. You can see Silla at 19 goals was good enough to see him get 8th in the top goal scoring chart, so people who might have been curious. In terms of assists, we don't actually have any players on the list. But we have kind of hit that age now, 10 years in, where the majority of the players in the Premier League are regens. And while there is the odd player, the likes of Paul Pogba, Dybala, Martial, the majority of players, they've now moved on. We've hit a slightly different age in a Football Manager save. You kind of go through those different phases, and we're now hitting the phase now where it's just going to be kind of all the quote-unquote real players falling like flies, I feel like, over the not-so-distant future. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up this episode from me. I will apologise now for the fact this is a shorter episode. You might be able to tell in my voice, I've got a little bit of a sore throat at the moment. I've got other videos I do need to record, so I want to preserve it as best I can. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. As I said, thank you so much for your support over the last 10 years here at Hereford. I will just say now, apologies for the fact that uploads have slowed down a little bit over the last week or so. Obviously, with the PC problems I've been having on, with work being a little bit busy, it's been a little bit of a less than ideal situation, but hopefully now we can get back on track and start bringing you guys videos pretty much every day, if not every other day, so keep your eye out for more videos coming your way soon. Anyway, guys, that's going to be all from me. As I said, thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed, smash the like button. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.